All right. This is the first work with this little brown gelding. The reason that I record so many of the first works is most of the messages and calls I get, the horses are a little pushy, sometimes they're a little bitey, and the first lesson is the one where you can see me dealing with those kind of things. So if they bring them to me with a halter on, this is a typical first work. What I'm going to do with him, since he's a little pushy and a little bitey, that's what they say. And you can see he's pretty happy about. Let's see if he has wolf teeth. Usually they don't. Because when they get castrated, usually the vets take them out. But I just check to one side. You can see how he doesn't relax. So we're going to try to teach him to control his emotions. Why am I using a flag? It's easier for me to get to a place with a flag. This horse is pretty much used to ignoring us. And if I'm going to use this flag as a tool, first thing we're going to do is make sure I can rub him all over with this flag. So usually by the time we get that done, they're pretty good. We've already dealt with 2 or 3 problems. This horse likes to use his teeth. Nothing wrong with that, it's normal. Now I'm going to walk back here, I'm going to watch him. Make sure he's kind of looking at you. I want to touch him everywhere. I want to find those spots. He's real. Horses can only think of one thing at a time. So when we work with these horses the first time, the root of the problem might be that they just shut us out. It might be. But the thing about it is after I've worked with this horse 2 or 3 times, there's not as much learning for people that's got green ones or troubled ones or horses that are being a little bit scary to them. It's these first works, the first, second, then they start calming down. We teach them how to control their emotions. And things start to make progress really fast. So usually the first work is where most of the questions that I get on the phone or in texts are dealt with. That's why I record the first work so often. The girl said that the horse scared her a little bit now and then. Well, if a horse can only think of one thing at a time, and it's not looking at us, it doesn't even know we exist. And a lot of times, they'll look away, they'll get sidetracked mentally, and then when they come back to you, it scares them when they see you again. I'm going to make this horse back up a step, or I'm going to pet him. And I'm going to keep petting this face until he quits doing that. Nobody wants them chewing on their hand while they go up to pet old Fluff. So I'm just going to keep doing this And what I'm working on right now is, can you relax and can you focus on me? Real simple lesson. But unless they'll focus on you, you're not going to show them much. Before I got to be an old man, I didn't hardly ever use a flag because I could just use my lead rope or my hands and I could be there in plenty of time. Now that I'm a little older, I'm quite a bit slower. And I can take this stick and go from here to here pretty fast. And this old boy here is going to let us rub him all over. He's going to relax. He's going to start licking and chewing. He's going to drop his head. And he's going to learn. But that feels better. That feels good to him. Now I'm going to touch his left jaw and I want his right front foot to move. I don't want him back. I want him to back up. Left and right. Back him up. I don't want him taking off. I want him to look at me and stand still. There. And he gets petted. Now I'm going to touch his, I'm going to change that whole plan. I'm going to touch his right jaw, and when his left front foot moves, right there, I quit pulling. And now I'm going to rub him again. And I'm going to rub him a lot. I'm going to show him that being quiet and soft is a lot better. You see what I'm doing with my hand right here? This horse ain't never tried to bite me, but I'm not going to take what the owner said and ignore it. I'm not going to do it. So my hand is that long. That's my space. I've invited him in a little closer, and I can do anything I want with my hands. As long as I don't move my feet, I'm not chasing him. And that's rule number 3, isn't it? Never chase their face. That's why we don't do a lot of chase them around in the round pen with nothing on their head. I don't want him going around me looking to the outside. If he's going a direction, I want him to know that he has to look at me when he goes a direction. Left jaw, right front foot. Right there. Petty. And pretty quick, when you touch that jaw, it'll move this front foot. And he'll follow himself across. And he gets sidetracked easy. Remember, this whole lesson is to start him on the road to paying attention to me. I'm not going to use violence, but I am going to be aware when he's not looking at me. When he did look at me, I gave him some comfort. But I'm damn sure going to keep my hands out of his mouth unless I don't want him to. Here, grab the halter, put your finger in his mouth. When the tongue comes to life, take it out. I want him to back up 2 steps, left and right. 1, 2, quit. Quit asking. When they do what you ask them to do, quit asking them to do it. I'm going to pick up and get that inside hind leg. Right there. Now I'm going to back him up, left and right. This is the beginning. See how he's looking away? There. Petty when he comes back. Most of the trouble that you're going to have with these horses is they're not paying attention to you, or you're not paying attention to them. Left and right. Left and right. He backed up 2 steps. I went back to petting on him. He's not allowed to dictate direction or speed. So if we're not moving, he ought not to. But I'm not just going to stand here and pick on him. If he wants to move, I'll let him move here in a minute. I really want to do a lot of rubbing down here with him standing still. There's my head, neck, and shoulders if I'm riding. There's a blind spot. There's a blind spot. I'm going to pick up and move that inside hind leg. There, left and right. So, even though this is the first time working with him, we've worked on his attention span, we've worked on his focus, we've worked on his shoulder, we've worked on his hip, we've worked on backing him up, left and right. And don't you move your feet. That's his job. And don't sugarcoat this flag. You don't get to hit him with it and beat him with it, but you do get to move it around. I'm going to rub these dingle balls. You know that pulls a little hair, but he's just going to have to get used to it. That's his job. Left and right. When both feet move. 1, 2. Then go back to rubbing him again. The reason I do 2 steps, first step changes his mind, second step's for practice. And so you can see how he could get soft, quiet, and relaxed while we do these things. And if he's being pushy, there. Pretty good first work. I think I'll rope him a little bit. I'll rope those legs. Rope that back. Rope those legs. Rope that back. Rope those back feet. Left and right. He doesn't get to dictate direction or speed. If you want this horse standing soft, quiet, relaxed, you have to set it up so that he gets a chance to be soft, quiet, and relaxed. And then the byproduct of that is he will enjoy or gravitate towards soft, quiet, and relaxed. Put my hand here on the vertical, back him up. It's not perfect, but we know what we need to work on. So this is the first work with little Brownie. I've forgotten his name. I forget their names as soon as they leave here, or as soon as they get here, or something like that. There, much better. And now that I can do it with that, can I do it with this? There. You're working on that attention span. You're working on him controlling his emotions. When he's thrashing his head like that, he's trying to get away. You watch you don't get struck, but he ain't showed no signs of being a striker. Don't give him any more trouble than he's got already. Don't borrow trouble, you got plenty. And that's pretty much the highlights of the first work of this little brown gelding. I hope that gave you some ideas. You see how he's creeping on me? Left and right, left and right. What I did there was I shook the rope as hard as I wanted to, and then I had my flag help me. He doesn't get to look away. That's frustration, that pawing. Now just rub that nose. If they can only think of one thing at a time, I can take their attention off of a foot and bring it to their face, or vice versa. Right here, he's thinking about my hand. He doesn't even concentrate on this as long as he doesn't get distracted from my hand. That's why we have to pay attention. When you handle a bunch of these, you have a system. If you only handle the one that you have, and that's the only green one that you've ever handled, it's a tougher job. Left and right. Pet him. He didn't get in trouble for coming to me. He got rewarded for backing up. See how that works? When he's wanting to itch, but I want him to look at me, he has to look at me. Anyway, I hope that helps. First work with the little brown gelding. And I apologize for not remembering his name. I'm old.